After dropping 50 pounds after 40, which is a loss I've maintained for 3 years, I have finally figured out that no quick fix diet will ever transform my body like staying consistent with the right habits does. And I'm not that 27-year-old influencer you follow with perfect genes. I'm a real woman who struggled with weight loss her entire life and couldn't figure out how to end that struggle until I started following these exact habits. So I quit the miracle pills and gave up extreme diets forever. Instead, I added small, silent changes that added up to big results. But these aren't the flashy habits everyone talks about. You already know that you need to stay hydrated, and yes, you have to eat all of the protein after 40. The habits I'll show you are the quiet ones that work behind the scenes, transforming your body while you're just busy living life. By the end of this video, you will have the exact roadmap that I used so you can transform your body forever. Let's start with something so simple it almost feels stupid. But it's life-changing for those of us who grew up sweating to the oldies, even when we were only in our 20s. I used to think exercise meant suffering through endless cardio, but then I discovered the power of moving every hour. Here's what I do. I set a timer for the top of the hour and then I get up and move for 2 or 3 minutes. Sometimes that means just walking to the further bathroom, doing a few push-ups or bodyweight squats, or do some mobility work at my desk. It doesn't really matter what you do. Moving more throughout the day helps your metabolism stay active instead of shutting down from sitting all day. Plus, your posture improves, and that 3 p.m. energy crash is just gone. The crazy part is, this habit alone can burn an extra 200 or 300 calories every day without stepping foot inside a gym, because small movements done consistently add up to big results. Here's what you can do, even starting right now. Set 3 hourly alarms and walk for 2 minutes every time they go off. Bam! You just added an easy 600 steps to your day. But maybe we're getting ahead of ourselves because we haven't talked about how you should start your day. I used to roll over in bed and immediately check my phone, which gives you an early head start to all-day dopamine spikes and crashes. These days, I leave my phone in airplane mode and use those 10 to 15 minutes I used to scroll to get some natural sunlight instead. I get this done within the first hour of waking up with no sunglasses and no windows between me and the sun. This isn't about getting a tan. Getting morning light into your eyes regulates your circadian rhythm, boosts vitamin D production, and sets your body's internal clock. When your circadian rhythm is dialed in, your sleep improves, your mood stabilizes, you have better appetite regulation, and your hormones start working with you instead of against you. Your body runs on natural rhythms, and morning sun exposure is like hitting the reset button on your entire system. So this week, resist the urge to scroll and instead step outside for 10 minutes within your first hour of waking, no sunglasses, and no excuses. Speaking of systems, let's talk about the one thing you do 20,000 times every day without ever thinking about it, which is breathing. Most people breathe like they're running from a lion, relying on shallow chest breathing that keeps your nervous system in constant fight or flight mode. And living your life in constant diets makes this problem even worse. To counter this, I began practicing deep diaphragmatic breathing for a few minutes every day. I lay on the floor and breathe in through my nose for 4 counts, breathing deep into my belly, holding for 4, and then I exhale through my mouth for 6. And whenever I notice shallow breathing throughout the day, I remind myself to breathe deeper. Practicing this every day leads to a drop in stress hormones, your recovery improves, and your nervous system finally gets the memo that you're safe. When your body isn't constantly flooded with stress hormones, that's when it stops holding onto fat like it's preparing for another famine. Let's test this right now. Stop what you're doing and breathe in deep for 4. Hold it for 4 and then slowly breathe out for 6. And then do another 2 minutes of this 4-4-6 breathing for 2 minutes before bed. Paying attention to how you breathe can help your body from always feeling like another famine is waiting around the corner. So it stops holding on to stored fat like it's a life or death situation. Speaking of famine, even if you think you're eating just above famine level while trying to lose weight, if you're not tracking everything you eat, I promise you, you're not. There are studies that show people who don't track eat 20 to 50% more than they think. If you want consistent fat loss, you need to be consistent with logging what you eat. And I mean everything. Remember, just because you don't count something, that doesn't mean that your body ignores whatever you just ate. Most women who aren't losing weight think that they're in a calorie deficit. But all of those licks while cooking, bites of your kids' leftovers, nibbles during meal prep, and those I'll just have a salad meals out that also come with bread, dressing, and wine, your body is tracking every single calorie, even when you're not. Once I began logging every bite, I was shocked because I thought I was only eating 1,500 calories a day, but that was just on the good days. Once I averaged every day of the week together, it turns out I was closer to 2,200. That awareness alone is what finally got my scale moving without completely changing what I ate. I just had to be honest about how much I was actually eating. If you don't already track what you eat, then today I want you to download Chronometer and start logging everything you eat, even the handful of nuts that you'd otherwise forget about. And once you're finally tracking honestly, the next game changer is protein, which I know I said we wouldn't talk about, but as women over 40, this is something that we need to talk about. I aim for a minimum of 30 grams of protein with every meal, but most of my lunches and dinners are actually closer to 50 grams. Here's why protein is magic. Your muscles recover faster, your metabolism stays elevated hours after eating, and those random cravings for junk mysteriously disappear. Protein is the most satiating macronutrient, which means you naturally eat less without feeling deprived. Plus, when you're in a calorie deficit, adequate protein ensures that you're losing fat, not muscle. And you don't want to lose muscle since it's what gives you that tone look that every woman over 40 has been chasing for decades, but we were never taught the right strategies to actually get there. So if you're not already eating your goal weight in grams of protein every day, starting with your very next meal, find new ways to add at least 10 grams of protein to every meal. Just adding 1 to 2 ounces of lean meat is an easy way to do just that. Something else that'll help you get leaner is being in a moderate calorie deficit so you actually lose fat. Want to know what moves you closer to sticking to that deficit without a lot of thought? Sticking to 8 to 10,000 steps every day. Moving more to lose fat isn't about becoming a cardio queen. It's about consistent, low-impact movement that improves your cardiovascular health, keeps your bones strong, and gives you consistent energy instead of sporadic bursts followed by big crashes. And moving more isn't just about burning more calories, because more movement throughout the day also helps curb appetite, which attacks your fat loss goals from 2 angles. The best part? Steps burn sneaky calories since a 10,000 step day can burn an extra 300 to 500 calories without feeling like exercise. It's a simple fat loss strategy that you never knew about, and it just involves living your life. To easily work your step count up, figure out a way to add just 1,000 new steps to your day by parking further away, taking the stairs, or even walking while on calls. But all of this movement and protein won't even make a dent if you're not prioritizing sleep. Here's where most women mess up. They think sleep is optional after 40, but your metabolism is slowing down every day you skimp on sleep. I prioritize 7 to 9 hours of quality sleep every night. But that's not because I'm lazy. It's because this is the time when your body does its most important work. Overnight is when your muscles repair, your hormones balance, and your immune system gets stronger. If you don't prioritize sleep, you're sabotaging every other healthy habit that you're trying to build. Especially since when you're sleep deprived, your hunger hormones go haywire, making you crave sugar and other junk all day. Once I started treating sleep like the non-negotiable that it is, my body composition changed faster than it ever had before. If you don't already go to bed at the same time every night, set an alarm 30 minutes before you want to be asleep so your bedtime routine starts on time. Speaking of body composition changes, that will never happen if you don't get started with this next habit. And most women get this one wrong. I don't care how many intermittent fasting experts claim that you'll build muscle just by fasting. If your program doesn't include eating more protein and lifting heavy objects, you're not building any muscle. And any muscle definition that you see is really just starvation in disguise. You don't need to live at the gym, but you do need to lift heavy things. And just 2 focused strength sessions each week can transform your body in ways that starving yourself never will. Strength training increases bone density, keeps your metabolism high even while at rest, and builds functional strength that makes everyday life easier. Plus, muscle burns more calories than fat, which means the more muscle you have, the more you can eat while maintaining your weight, which happens to be my favorite benefit. I'm not talking about becoming a female Arnold. I'm talking about becoming strong, confident, and metabolically efficient. If you haven't added strength training to your routine, pick 2 days this week and start with just 15 minutes, even if all you do is bodyweight exercises at home. Before we get into the next habit, I have to do a little bit of backtracking. I know I just bagged on intermittent fasting, but now I'm about to show you how to use it to transform your body. The problem with most fasting advice is it is way too extreme. Nobody needs to fast every other day just to lose fat, and doing so could even set you up to regain every pound. What can help is a gentle 12 to 14 hour daily fasting window. This works because fasting can help tame your appetite, but also because when you stop eating after dinner, you save tons of junk calories that most women overdo at night. Stop eating after dinner and then wait an hour or two after waking up for your first meal. That's how simple it is to follow a 12 to 14 hour daily fasting window that actually keeps you on track. But if you're active in the morning like me, then drink the damn protein shake. Sorry if I sound angry. But all of these podcasting nutrition experts had me terrified of even brushing my teeth before 10 a.m. for years. It took way too much time to reprogram my brain, letting you know that it's not only okay, but it's actually required to fuel up before an intense morning workout. I still stick to a 12-hour fast most nights since this gives your digestive system a break, improves insulin sensitivity, and helps your body burn fat instead of constantly craving sugar. But quit taking this advice to the extreme. Even 16 or 18-hour fasts can backfire for women, messing with our hormones and making us binge later. Keeping it simple keeps it sustainable. To put this habit into effect, stop eating 2 hours before bed and then wait an hour after you wake up to eat, unless you roll out of bed and work out like me. Something else most women get wrong is exercising in all of the wrong ways. And I'm not talking about strength training versus cardio. In fact, both of these will only serve to stiffen you up if you're not actively focusing on how your body moves. The good news is there are simple ways to improve your mobility while fitting it into the things that you already do. One thing you should be doing daily to improve all of the creaks and aches that just seem to show up after 40 is sitting in a squat position for up to 5 minutes a day. And even though it looks easy enough, I promise you it's not. Especially if you haven't practiced this position since you were a kid. But continuing to put it off isn't making it any easier. Do what you have to do to get into the best squat position that you can achieve without hurting yourself. Raise your heels, hold on to something sturdy or both, and then sit in a squat for a few times each day for 30 to 60 seconds. The more you practice, the easier it gets, and you'll start developing a larger range of motion over time. Something else I do, every time I get up to use the bathroom, I hang from a pull-up bar for as long as I can, even if it's just 20 or 30 seconds with my feet touching the ground for support. Your body is meant to move through full ranges of motion every day. When you can move better, that's when you'll feel better, and you are way less likely to get injured during workouts. Plus, practicing these movements daily can naturally relieve pain that you've been dealing with for years. If you don't already have a mobility routine in place, this week just sit in a squat for 30 seconds every day while watching TV. Be sure that you're using a chair or railing for support. You could even sit in a squat right now while we talk about this next habit, which is something the diet industry doesn't want you to know. 2,000 calories of lean cuisines and protein bars will leave you feeling way hungrier than 2,000 calories of real food. When I switched from too many processed diet foods to more real meals, which includes high protein salads with actual chicken, more vegetables I cook from scratch, whole grains that I can pronounce, and eating fruit several times each day, that made staying in a calorie deficit way easier. Now that I eat more real foods, I'm more satisfied, have fewer cravings, and my energy is stable all day. Your body needs actual nutrients to feel full, not just more calories. When you feed it real food, it stops sending you to the kitchen every 2 hours looking for what it's missing. You can make sticking to your calorie deficit easier by replacing one processed meal with real food, even if that means swapping frozen pizza bread for a homemade high-protein chicken pizza. And something else your body is missing, especially for all you diet warriors who go all in and don't stop until your body forces you to stop, is rest. But that doesn't mean becoming a couch potato. On the days I take a break from strength training, I still do gentle yoga, take nature walks, or keep up with my mobility work a few times throughout the day. Your muscles actually recover better with gentle movement. Once you develop a routine where you're active every day, that's a routine that you won't want to give up. So on your next rest day, take a 15-minute outdoor walk instead of sitting on the couch, because your body loves movement and your brain loves routine. And so does your metabolism, which is the reason I eat at the same times every day. This simple habit stabilizes energy, improves digestion, and keeps hunger cues in check. When your body knows that food is coming, it stops storing fat out of confusion and starts trusting that it's safe to burn stored energy. Your hunger cues become more reliable, and you stop having those emergency, oh my god, I need food right now moments that lead to overeating. Staying consistent with when you eat is the secret sauce that makes everything else work so much better. So set a schedule of when you'll eat and test out eating at the same time for 7 days straight, even if it's just breakfast and dinner, which also combines well with the next habit. But to get this habit to work, you have to stop falling for the big influencers' meal plans that are filled with foods that you've never heard of and you have no idea how to cook. Instead, figure out which meals you already enjoy that keep you fuller longer in a calorie deficit, and then just build your own rotation. I spent time learning how to make high protein, lower calorie versions of meals that I already enjoy, like beef nachos, barbecue chicken baked potatoes, and even steak with truffle fries. These became my go-to meals because they work for both my cravings and my goals. Your meal plan should be filled with foods that you look forward to eating, not foods that you're choking down because some influencer tells you that they're clean. This week, pick 3 meals you already love and figure out how to add more protein and more vegetables. Add them to your go-to meal list so you have ideas whenever you feel stuck. Which brings us to the final habit that silently transformed my body and my life. Every morning I remind myself, this is the only body I get. There's no upgrades, no trade-ins, and no do-overs. Every choice you make is either an investment in your future or a withdrawal from a healthier future. The thing is, these 15 habits aren't just about looking better. They're about feeling unstoppable in your own body. But don't rush to implement 15 new habits by tomorrow. Start with only 1 or 2 so you don't get overwhelmed and quit. But also, make sure you start, because every day you put this off is another day that your body is working against you instead of with you. If you want to see how I fit all of these habits into my daily routine to lose 50 pounds and actually keep it off, watch this video next. I show you my complete day from morning to night, the real unfiltered version of how a woman over 40 actually lives these habits without perfection, but with consistency. Because consistency, not perfection, is what will transform your body forever.